There, and welcome to another What's Between Us show. And tonight I have a very, very, very special show tonight. I have been asking people for quite some time. I've been trying to recruit my first couple to come onto my show, and I have finally been successful. I've got two brave folks here who are going to be on our show, our very first couple show, and that is Jorge and Robin Fuemayor.
That's close.
Did I do it close enough there?
Yeah.
Okay, you say it the proper way, okay, Jorge?
Jorge Fuemayor.
Oh, that's so easy. Just trickles off the tongue for me. But it's harder for me, of course. But thank you so much for coming on the air. We are so excited to have you on the air. I first want to talk. You guys have been married. Let's get the skinny. How long have you all been married?
Almost 7 years. A little more than 7 years.
7 years. Great, great. So we don't have any 7-year itch thing, obviously.
Not
you guys
yet.
are happily married.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you have children?
We have 2 children, a 5-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, and I know I've seen them out at the club, and that's how we met. I met them out at the tennis club where I play at West Hills Racket Club. And Jorge is a fabulous tennis player, and I imagine you are too, Robin, because didn't you two meet playing the great game of tennis?
We did back when we played in college. Well, we worked at a place in college at a tennis camp in Florida, so that's how we met. And we just have loved it.
Were you both instructors?
I was an instructor, and she was a student at the time, so she was the one that came and talked to me the first time, so I kept the distance with the students.
Oh.
He's trying to like be safe here.
Did you like cross the line there?
No. She was the one that crossed the line.
Oh, okay. So you want to make that abundantly clear. That
yes,
she's the
she
one.
She knows how everything started, so.
So okay, so you've got you've got this hot teacher over there, and you're at this camp, and so what inspired you to have the guts to go over and approach him?
I don't know. He was nice and friendly and Spanish, and I was wanting to learn Spanish, so that was fun and interesting to be able to do. And we both loved tennis, and we were young, so yeah, it was fun.
Oh, great.
Still is.
Great. Okay, so she came over and started to talk to you, and then you just kind of started hanging out, and then after the camp was over at the end of the summer?
End of the summer.
Okay.
She has bad memory, so I guess I can complete the story, but we kept in contact for almost a year. She went to school in Spain, and I went to school in South Carolina. We kept in contact for close to a year. Then we got invited to play nationals in Texas, and she was already back in the States, so she made the drive, even though she never told me until almost 4 years later that when I first asked her how long the drive was from Houston to where the tournament was taking place, she told me that it was only 2 hours, when at the end of the day it was really close to 4 hours. But she didn't want it to show too much interest at the beginning. So.
Oh, I love it!
He says that all the time.
Now, if she had told you that she'd driven that far, would that have scared you, that she'd gone up to that extent to see you? Or
I don't think it would have really changed that much, to be honest, just because we had mutual interest right from the beginning. We kept in contact for, a year, even though we were not sure when we were going to see each other. So I didn't think more or less of her if she would have told me the actual number of hours.
The actual number, yeah.
Have
you ever had a long-distance relationship like that before?
Nope, that was really the first and only one, so it was good to see that it could work. And then when he was doing his master's, we were in different states again, so.
And he was doing his master's where, and where were you?
He was in Virginia, and I was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's not too terribly far. At
Not
least it's
too
both
far,
on the
but
East
still
Coast.
not conveniently close
No.
when you're in love.
I know. That is so great. So how soon did you guys know you were in love?
I don't know.
Actually,
come on, memory guy, break it out.
it took a while to really figure out where the whole relationship was going, because not knowing where I was going to end up going to school, if she was going to go back to Spain or I was going to stay in South Carolina. It was one of those things that it was hard to put pressure on ourselves, just because it's kind of hard to tell how the future is going to turn out. So we kind of like took it slowly, and I think it almost took like pretty good 2-3 months for us to figure out if we're going to be together or not. We took a pretty good chance. There were some rough times, just because the distance doesn't really help that much, knowing when you're going to see the person the next time. But we were persistent. I will say I was a little more than she was. But
oh, well, that's cute. It's always they sometimes say that relationships are a lot like a rubber band. When one goes away, the other one comes towards, and vice versa, and they're kind of like in a constant state of flux between the two. If you're wondering what you're watching tonight, it's What's Between Us. It's a G-rated relationship show, and we want you to call in and discuss some of these married topics. I finally got a married couple on here, so we can discuss more married topics instead of just single people topics, which get really old after a while. So I am really thrilled about this, so give us a call about it. It's Happily Ever After. We're discussing everything that has to do with making a happily ever after marriage, and with a happily ever after couple here. So give us a call. Make sure you don't you say everything as though we've got an entire studio full of kindergartners looking at us with rapt attention at our every syllable, including that 3-letter word that has the X in it, strictly forbidden. So give us a call. It's a lot of fun, and we're going to have a good time. You guys have seen these couple. They might look familiar because I've had them on the show before, and that's when I went out to the club, and this is, and just to give a heads up in the studio, we want to do a Sports in Common on DVD 4. Sports in Common on DVD 4. I came out. Now, had you seen the show before I came out to the club and put you on the TV show before?
You interviewed us at the club.
Yeah, you're like, what is she doing? Yeah. I'm running around with my camcorder. You want to be on my TV show?
We were all like, yeah, right.
Is that what I
got
said
a TV show. She has this little video camera. Come on, talking to the camera. G-rated.
Now stop. We have to redo. No, you didn't say anything untoward. No, they were really good. But I do though. Tell them what I do. Did I tell you the question before I started running the camera?
I don't remember.
I don't think you did. I think you just told us you were going to ask us something about your relationship, and we kind of like did it on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so we're gonna be close. Are we close to getting the Sports in Common DVD up? If you guys want to, you can roll it and let's see what happened when I was at the club and I got all these people to ask them about if they had sports in common with their spouse, if that was a good thing, if that was a bad thing, how they felt about the whole thing, and so hopefully we'll get that going here pretty soon. Takes a while to track down exactly the thing, because this is a on-the-fly kind of show where we just talk about stuff, and if it comes up in the conversation, then we throw the video on of the person on the street, or Portland Perspectives, which is what these are. And I've gone all over downtown Portland and museum after hours, all sorts of places to get people's perspective on all sorts of sundry issues that we can talk about.
With your video camera?
Yes, with my video camera, and hopefully we're still working on it. Okay, we'll still work on it. As soon as you get that ready, let me know, and because I do want to show that one and some other ones. But for right now, we'll just go on. So that's how I got you on the there before at first. And you guys do you still play tennis together?
It's been a while now with having 2 kids. We try to take turns with them. Sometimes Robin is with us on the court, but other times it's just me with both of them. But no, it's been a while, yeah. It's probably easier during the summertime, just because there are more courts at the club, and we don't have to worry about the little ones running around and interfering with other people's practice.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Your son's getting really good. I see you out there working with him. I am so impressed, Jorge. And Jorge was nice enough to work with my son, Trip, before his last tournament. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
He did real well in it. He's on camera 3. And so he's doing a good job. So anyway, call in. Let us know what you think about our What's Between Us show, especially if you're a married couple. If you have any married issues that pop up consistently, and I want to get into that with these guys, and that is, is there anything that you, when you, with your guy friends, the husbands out there, are talking about that you guys have the same issues with your wives as your friends do, and wives with their husbands, that sort of thing. We're going to get into all that, but it looks like we're lucky and the DVD is ready, so let's see what happens about sports in common. So, does your wife play sports?
No, she doesn't.
Okay, is that just fine? Have you dated women that play sports? How important is sports in a relationship, do you think?
I don't think it's that important. It depends. When you have kids, it changes a little bit. But
do you play sports?
Yes.
Do you enjoy the same sports as your husband?
Yes. It's good because we're at different levels a little bit, but we play together just for entertainment, and our children play as well. So we play tennis and golf together. Oh, it was important because we both worked at a tennis camp for a summer. That's how we met in college. So we both knew that we liked the sport. So yeah, it was important because then we have the same interests and enjoy spending time doing the same things.
Probably the ones that she's familiar with. So I think she grew up playing tennis. So once in a while we play, especially now that we have 2 kids. We started to try to get her to start playing a little more of golf. She played before we had the kids and she stopped after that, but we're trying to get her to play some more. That way the kids get to see that she plays too. So if it's just for fun, it's easy. I think if it starts to be too competitive, I don't know if I will have the patience to do it with her or not. But if it's just for fun and being around the kids, it's no problem.
Do you and your husband play sports together?
No,
So you're not sports oriented, but he is more sports oriented?
100%. It brings a little argument into the couple because it takes time for him out of the house a lot, and he likes every single sport, so it kinds of time argument because he spent a lot of time out, and I'm like, you need to be here more time. So, but I understand he likes it a lot, so we negotiate. No, he would love for me to be a sporty person.
No.
Okay, would you think that would be a good or a bad thing if you did play sports together?
Depending on what the sport is.
I think it's really important because it's things that you can do together. And it's always good if you can try to do some things together.
Great. Do you and your wife play sports together?
Yes, we do. We play golf and tennis.
Oh, great. Now, if she beats you at one of these sports, is that an issue for you?
No, not an issue. We play to have fun and enjoy the time together.
It's not necessarily important to find the same sports, but some sports. So I don't care if a woman plays tennis or not, as long as she's physically active, right? That's the important thing. So then we can learn if there's another sport they want to do that, we can learn together. Or if it's a sport she knows that I don't, we can learn together. Or if it's a sport I know that she doesn't, we can learn together. And so that's what I'm looking for. Just as long as there's somebody who's active, they can learn the sport. That's what I'm looking for.
It's very important because I play so much tennis. It would be unfair to somebody who doesn't play tennis to date me.
Actually, it's not that important. It's a nice thing. It's really nice, particularly if it's an active sport where you can actually be involved together, like tennis. But it's not critical. Because we're each going to be doing stuff on our own anyway, at least for quite a while. So if I can do my tennis and she'll tolerate that, and she does something else, I think it's just fine.
My wife doesn't participate in sports. This is my hobby, tennis.
So would you like it if she did do the sports, or you think that's just fine, or how do you feel about it?
Yes, but she spends time with the kids. The kids actually fence, and she spends a lot of time running the kids around for their sport. So
Oh, great,
Our
great.
sport's tennis. And I tried to get my kids into tennis, but they globbed on to fencing. And so that's the way it turned out.
All right, we're back. There it is. Deja vu. And you see these guys before, and you saw them on the video, and that's where you've seen them before. Now you know. And we've added all our friends over here at West Hills Racket and/or Tennis Club. Fitness and tennis and/or tennis club. Whatever. Anyway, little housekeeping issue, because this is my very first married couple show. We are only going to be accepting phone calls from those of you that are married. So if any of you guys that like to call on a regular basis, but we're not putting you on, unfortunately. Sorry if you're single. And so we want to put married people on, and so we want you married couples to call in. So please do so. And I'm sorry about that. We'll get back to single people calling in on our next show. But for this tonight, I really would like to limit it to married people only. So with that out of the way, let's think about this. Okay, you guys are out at a party, and okay, this is what happened when I was married. Is this still happening? You go to a party with a bunch of other couples, other married couples. Where do the guys go? Do they stay with their wives, sitting next to their wives, or do they go off and hang out with the other guys?
I think the guys always tend to hang out with the guys.
Yeah.
You know,
And the girls chat with the girls. Because the guys don't want to hear what the girls have to say, and the girls really don't care what the guys are saying. So.
Okay, so like, what happens when you get in the car and you go on a double date with another couple someplace?
The guys will sit in the back, or the girls will sit in the back, but it's
you
normally.
don't usually sit as a couple anymore, do you?
Well, because most of the time is the girls talking to each other.
Yeah, they want to chat.
And the guys just want to, relax a little bit.
Because they're not relaxed when they're with their wives, is that it?
Probably.
Most of the time it's that way.
If they could just put like an invisible mirror, window behind with the girls in the back.
Like they have
and the limos.
In limos, yeah.
Husbands would probably love that. Yeah. I'd love that in my minivan.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Oh, I would just love that. Dearly love it. My parents, I have to tell this quick story. My parents took my brother and I when we were like, I guess we were like 5 and 7 or something like that, drove us like 5 hours down to Dallas from Tulsa to go see Six Flags. And they borrowed our friend's limousine, and it had one of those glass windows. So my parents pull out of the driveway, and up goes the window. And then my brother just proceeds to annihilate me for all the way down there. So I'm like, they're driving along, quiet, happy, and I'm in the back going, yeah! Face up, oh, babe! Oh,
they probably like that window,
I was so furious. They finally stopped the car. I'm like, he beat me up the whole way down.
So would your kids now put that window up on you?
Probably. Yeah. Especially if I start going off on my accents. I have a tendency to start talking in an odd accent all the time. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see. I don't know if I can do a Spanish accent. Sometimes I try to do a Spanish accent, but it's very hard for me. But I get in these mirrors and I start talking this way. It doesn't sound the way it's supposed to sound, but I talk that way anyway. And they say, Mother, don't talk that way anymore. Talk normal. So I don't. But anyway, so I do weird things like that, and then they get that, and I
sound like Al Pacino. And
Italian.
Then I started going to Italian.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But I'd flip that window.
You'd flip it?
Yeah,
they do. They do not like that. And then the other thing that Tripp was explaining to you before is that I have a tendency to laugh at my own jokes.
Yes. But that's a good character, don't you think? You could laugh at yourself.
Well,
be comfortable enough with yourself that you can have a couple laughs. Yeah.
We only have a certain amount of time on this earth, right?
Yeah.
So why not laugh and enjoy it as much as humanly possible? Okay, so back to the idea that we're at hand. Now, you guys are at a party, and the guys go off on their own, the gals go off on their own. Is there any particular issue with the men that seems to be in common with the other wives when you guys get together? So any little thing that issue, or with the men that you find that you guys complain about your wives about, or you complain about your husband?
I think it's the too much talking sometimes and the selective hearing. That's pretty.
How does the selective hearing exactly work?
Well, girls tend to listen to the things that they want to, and those things that they don't like to, they just completely ignore it and will flat out tell you that you didn't tell me that.
So is that girls or your wife?
I think You, my friends' wives, my friends.
I think it's the wife title.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's not a personality characteristic, probably.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Would you say that it's just a wifely characteristic?
I think it's.
Maybe it comes with a wedding ring.
No, I think
it's like the 11 o'clock at night. Oh, honey, will you, you're in sleep in bed like this, almost dozed off. Oh, honey, don't forget tomorrow to call so-and-so. And then 2 days later, did you call so-and-so? You never told me that.
Because most of the wives tend to have like a schedule for, for us that, or the schedule for the entire week. Okay, we have all these activities, and we tend to put things into the calendar or tell them certain things. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, you didn't tell me that, or you didn't write that down. And it's on the calendar, but when it's our case, they get more upset when we're asked.
Now, does he ever forget stuff that you tell him?
Not really.
Oh, well, that makes it.
He has a very good memory. I'd have to say that.
That's great.
I mean, he could probably tell you what I was wearing the first time we met, or what. Just,
Not anymore.
He has a very good memory.
Not anymore.
Whereas, I just have so much little information that comes in and out with little kids in my mind. So it's just after I've used the information and I'm done with it, it's just.
But I think they tend to use the kids sometimes as a way to forget things.
Well, you have to understand, Jorge. I only made it 6 years myself, and 3 of those years we were kidless, and so they were babies. And I don't know if this was what happened with you, but I felt like I spent my entire life after I had babies, either in front of the sink or in front of the changing table. And there the twain should meet. So then when my husband would come home, I would actually, like, one of those sci-fi movies, like to suck his brain out because I needed some intellectual stimulation because I would been dealing with gaga goo goo crying babies and cleaning dishes and making food and making bottles, and I just was yeah. So I felt like my brain, I had lost a great amount of my brain power. Did you have a similar experience?
Oh yes, I would call my sister maybe about 10:30, and she'd be, so you're the first adult conversation you've had today, and I said, why? How can you tell? Because you're just going on and on and on and talking, and I said,
more than normal.
Well, a 3-month-old isn't going to say anything back to you when you've been around them for 6 hours. There's just nobody else talking to you. So yes, I find that. I mean, I did the career thing before I had children, and then when I stayed at home with them now, it's different.
It is.
Different parts of your
and
brain.
I work too, and it's you got to admit. I don't know. Has he ever had a chance? Did he ever get a chance to like if you were sick? Did you ever take off work and take care of the kids while she was sick?
I've done it before.
Yeah.
For like the whole day. And
oh yeah. I had pneumonia.
Did you find it mind numbing?
Oh,
you had pneumonia.
I had walking pneumonia this past year, and he was great with the kids. I mean, he's really good with the kids. I'd have to say.
Yours are better managed, they're not in diapers.
Not always.
They're not in diapers, but
diaper stage is so tough for me. Was that not tough for you?
Yeah, it's hard, but you get through it. I mean,
it's like, God, if I won't deal with any feces larger than like this big. That's why the only pet we've had since I got the boys out of diapers was a leopard gecko.
Oh, so that was a little
very
poop.
Small feces.
Oh,
it's very no big deal. But yeah, it was mine took forever to get potty trained. Like 3.5. I mean, we're having intellectual conversations on the changing table about the pros and cons of using the toilet, and it was awful.
Ours were younger. We were lucky about that.
How old?
Almost right before 3. Maybe like 2 3/4, maybe a couple months before their 3rd birthday. So that was nice to be able to be done with that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You should like start a little lessons on how to potty train a boy.
Yeah, they just had that on the news here in Portland a little while ago. Babies being potty trained at 6 and 9 months.
Oh, I think you should be able to potty train them when they first come home from the hospital if they're boys.
That would make it easier.
Because here's what happens if you haven't had a boy baby. You go on the changing table and you pull over the diaper and all of a sudden air hits it.
Yep.
And it's like, whoa, time to go pee-pee! And it right in your face.
But this is G-rated, right?
Well, yeah, pee-pees are okay.
Okay.
So,
but the visual.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not an attractive one. So I think you go take the little infant that's newborn and cannot even hold his head up, and you just take it off and then hold him over the toilet.
Yeah.
That would work.
It would work. I think so.
Save some
I
money.
could start that. Save money on diapers.
It could work. It could work. It'd be a lot of fun. Okay, now, okay, that's your side of the coin. That's one of the issues that you've had. Okay, selective hearing, and there was one other thing. See, I've got selective
just
hearing.
ignoring
The
those
talking.
things that the talking. Yeah.
talking too much, or the wrong things that they discuss, or they're not interesting things? That's a whole nother
The
subject.
wrong things, uninteresting things. But I think it's the same for the women, right? I mean,
sometimes at the wrong time, like you hear the jokes all the time of their wives, trying to get in the way when you're watching like a football game, or you're watching a baseball game, and you want to watch the replay, and they're kind of like basically start getting on the way or asking the insignificant questions that get in the way.
Yeah, that's true.
but that's not me, so that's okay.
But you would
They all
probably
do it.
never do. But yeah, to a certain extent, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Well, I'm really bad that way because when I love to watch football, and a lot of sports, basketball too. And I'm like, why did they call that play? Why was that a foul? Why are they redoing it? I thought that looked good. So I probably would annoy him. That's probably
That's why they have the commentators.
Probably not. Yeah,
So.
that's why they have the commentators. Yeah, that's true.
That's why they have DVRs nowadays. You just
Zip it
rewind
back.
it.
Yeah, but still, there's some rules I just flat out don't know.
Or my husband just tapes stuff and watches it late at night when I'm not there to
I love
interrupt
to do
him.
that, especially when it's getting exciting, and I want to find out who gets the touchdown, and I want to sit around watching them do the little flags and their little calisthenics out there with the striped shirts and everything. So I just zip it fast forward and that sort of thing. So tell us what about you? What do the women say that you find in common that they have problems with their husbands on?
I don't know if so many of them talk about problems they have with their husbands, but I mean, I just feel women want to chat more with other women insofar as you always end up talking about your children, or you're talking about shopping, or just girly chat. I saw this purse, or my child did this, or talking about whatever it might be. But I don't know insofar about issues with husbands that people talk about. I don't know. I don't talk about that with my friends. I mean, some people do, but I just kind of
They don't even have time to talk about us.
They don't?
Because we just talk about so much other stuff.
So much more other interesting stuff.
I mean, I guess a lot of my friends say that their husbands don't do a lot with the kids. I've heard that from a couple of my friends insofar as the main issues with their husbands or children or family situations that, if my husband would just take my kids to the movies, or if my husband would just take my kids to play ball, or whatever it might be. So I hear that a lot from a lot of my girlfriends.
What about like helping out around the house? Not just with like the household chores and that sort of thing.
I don't think I know any that do. I'm not putting
I help.
I'm not putting my husband. Well, I was going to backtrack. I'm not putting my husband on a pedestal, but he's very good. He'll do the laundry and the kitchen stuff and pick up around the house, and he's pretty good.
Which is like husband of the year.
Which is surprising because his culture.
Have more options.
His culture. I mean, he grew up with them. That's just common. They grew up with a maid, and so he came to the States.
You're from Colombia, right?
It's funny, before I even came to the show that, some of this was going to come up, but, I grew up, in Colombia, and, you don't have to be well off to have somebody that will help you out at home with the cleaning, the cooking, or doing your laundry. But, since I moved here to the States, I was basically on my own, where, I have to make my own food, clean after myself, do my own laundry, all this stuff that I never had to deal for 18 years. So that's something that I learned pretty early, and that's something that I continue to do, even though that I know that Robin can do, but at the same time.
How old were you when you got married?
That's something that I promised to my dad, that I told him that I was gonna get married. He said, you should never get married before you're 30. And I got married when I was 30, so.
And both of you are 30? Oh, great. Yeah. See, that's the nice thing. You got used to doing this stuff on your own with you. You didn't go straight from being mom and dad's son to somebody's husband. Or you didn't go from daddy's little girl to being somebody's wife. You got to be you for a good 10 years or so on your own, doing it for yourself. And the same for Jorge.
Yeah. And that's worked well for me, because I have a couple friends from the high school era that then go on to college, and then they get married right away. And I just feel that I did the career thing, and now I'm having the kids, and for me it's worked great. But sometimes people say, well, I'd really love to get back into having a job, or it's not something that I want to do. So yeah, I think it's totally.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's I think, there's a lot of people that I've met and have gone out with since I've been single for 15 years, whatever it's been, that they married the first woman they married him really young, and then the woman didn't get a chance to be on her own.
Right.
And then he wonders why she wants to be on her own now that she's older and discard him, and it's like, I always say it's like she needed to cook a while.
Yeah, because you need
she
time
wasn't
to grow.
ready.
Right.
Yeah, you need time to grow and
know who you are as an individual.
And I
So.
think because you guys waited till you were 30, which is actually, I think, almost an average age at this
It's pretty
point.
normal now.
Isn't
a lot
it?
of people waiting a little bit. I think now people are getting married now. Maybe not when we got married. I had a lot of friends that were married in their 20s, and
That's what made it tougher at the beginning, just because of, you surround yourself with other people that are getting married younger, so
And then they're like, why aren't you getting married, Jorge?
yeah.
maybe not so much for me, but it seems like the females tend to put more pressure on themselves than really the guys.
Yeah, you
know,
gotta you gotta snag a husband before you turn
Yeah.
30.
So
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
He kept saying, not before I'm 30.
yeah, and I don't know. To me, it's having a long distance relationship helped out to really you kind of on your own, learning to see if that's going to be the right person or not. You start to grow on your own. You don't become so dependent on that person, and you get to see the world in a way, and then you figure out if that's the right person or not.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. That's wonderful. That's so neat. You're so lucky. I wish I could find a husband like Jorge. That's fabulous.
I could run him out to you.
No, I would never.
Oh, sorry, G-rated.
No, G-rated. No, he's fabulous. I do think that they should start a business called Rent a Husband, only for the doing chores around the house and helping me decorate and helping me
$100
purchase
an hour.
furniture and most importantly, how to do the backyard. Or
see.
what to
I don't
plant
do
where
that.
and things like that. I need somebody, fix
Yeah.
things, that sort of thing. But I think they're called handymen, so that's probably what I should probably
I've got a
go
good
for.
handyman guy.
Yeah, you really,
Yeah.
are you handy around the house as well?
No, I clean, I cook, I pick up, but
Yeah.
I'm not that handy.
Well, you've got all those other wonderful characteristics.
Right.
Now, I wanted to you touched upon it for a minute there, and I still am a big believer in this. If I ever get married again, it's going to be somebody that I have known on a friendship basis for a fairly long time before I want to, get all romantic and that sort of thing. Because I think a lot of times people are blinded by the physical side of it, the relationship. And they don't really get to know the person. Like the fellow I married, I don't think he really knew who I was, and I don't think I really probably knew who he was. And because you get so jaded by certain other, the fact that you're so attracted to each other, and that was forced upon you because of the fact that you were in a long distance relationship.
Right.
It was lots of probably late night talking on the phone.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
You loved that
hours.
part, didn't
Yeah,
you,
we
Jorge?
did. We used to talk for hours on the phone. We were in college, and it was just,
She would
hours.
just whine and whine about the future, but you never know what's gonna happen, and that's what just especially you being around your friends and them getting engaged or getting married pretty early put a lot of pressure on her that she thought that was the right step to take. But to me, if you're willing to wait, you wait as long as it takes. Sometimes it's more than you want to, but
So from the moment you met at the camp in the summer till the day you got married, how long of a time period are we talking
I
about?
was 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, so we dated 10 years. So our first date was August 5th. Am I getting this right? 1990.
Oh my
and then we got married August 5th, 2000.
she already got it wrong, you see.
Did I?
Yeah.
I love it. Go ahead. Fill us in, Jorge. What's the real thing?
August 5th, 1989.
Okay.
That's when we first met.
A
Yeah.
year, give or take. You're in it for the long run, so that's okay.
But then from the moment that we started talking, then it took almost a year for us to start dating.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
'Cause
exactly
talking and
what I'm
dating are
hoping.
different things.
Very different.
That's exactly.
Well, I don't really consider a kiss as part of, we never kissed before we started going out, so.
Yeah.
Americans
I
have
think you should
different-
kiss. I think you should. I think we consider the actual romantic aspect
Right.
of the dating situation when you get that first kiss, that sort of thing. So that must have been monumental because that was a year after. Or
A year after.
Almost a year, yeah.
I came back.
So okay, set us up. Where were we? Did you go visit him? Did he go visit you? Where were we? I want to hear the whole.
Don't get her started because she would just probably make something up.
Okay, then you tell us, Jorge, since her brain is clouded from too many children.
Let's see. You came back from Spain, and then you went to Texas to see me play nationals. Then you came to Florida to visit one of your friends. Came down, stayed with me for a week. Nothing happened, and the day before she was supposed to leave, that's when we kissed. And she ended up staying an extra week. So, and the
I
rest
guess that was a good kiss, right? I don't remember it, but.
Were you guys just avoiding each other, playing hide and
No,
seek?
it was just like one of those things that I mean, we stayed together, and it was like one of those things where
maybe there's other people there, or you just, in your college, you don't care if you like stay in a
did you see
hotel
stars?
with
So did
6
you see
people.
stars? Did you see stars?
Yeah, I mean, it was special. I mean, that's why I stayed an extra week, I guess, right?
She came back for more.
I love it.
Your son's like, what? More what?
More stars.
More stars. There you go.
So that's
G-rated.
That's right. That's right. No. I just mean that's great.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I ideally would love, and it's so hard to find out there, but I do think it's true. We live in such a fast-paced, trashy society right now where everything is all whatever feels good, do it, and why wait, and discarding of lives, and it's really, we've lost track of where it should be. I mean, our ancestors, how did they do it? They waited quite a long time, and they had chaperones whenever they went places.
Imagine.
But when they finally got together, I mean, you read those romance novels. They don't get together in the first couple of pages. They make you want to kiss the person and that sort of thing. And all that stuff. So and that's exactly what you guys said. That's so romantic.
I made her wait a while.
What?
I made her wait a while.
Wait a while, yeah.
Wait a while. I'd say so. Boy, what a wonderful woman though you are to wait 10 years.
Yeah.
And here I'm thinking she's getting all pushy about like a year or so, but. 10 years.
So that's kind of, I mean, I agree with what he said insofar as you get wrapped up in that your friends are getting engaged and you feel like you're getting older and you want to get married. But yeah, we'd been together for, you push 7 years, 8 years, 10. So that's kind of when we said, yeah, this is going to work. We'll get married.
I think a lot has to also do with the culture here. I think in any Latin country, when you get into, when you're really sure that you're going to get married, you basically said, okay, let's set up the date. This whole thing about getting engaged, I'm not a big believer of getting engaged thing. If you're ready to get married, then you know exactly when you're gonna get married. But this whole thing about like trying to keep somebody happy for a couple years just by giving them an engagement ring, I'm not a big believer of that.
Oh, I don't think so. I see no reason to get engaged unless you're gonna set a date.
Right.
Yeah. I got engaged and I just was like, I was too early for me. I think in hindsight, but I was like, I couldn't even tell people. I'd say I'm getting mama, married. Yeah, married. I'm getting married. Now I can call it off, can't I? But I didn't call it off. So anyway, yeah. So it was very. I mean, and then we went out. We went to get the ring, and he's just beaming, and we're coming out there, and I'm like, don't you realize this is for the rest of our lives? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah, but you're going to be spending it with me. And I'm like, yeah!
Take that ring right out.
No! And then I was like staring at him going, okay, so this is my guy, my handsome prince for the rest of my life. This is the way it's going to be. And, and then of course he asked me to marry him and he said, let's call people. And I'm like, that's not! That wasn't a good
So that should have told you right there.
That really should have told me.
Yeah.
In hindsight though, but he's a fabulous guy, and I always refer to him as the best ex-husband a girl ever had. He's really a great guy, and he's with a gal he's madly in love with, and they've had more kids, and it's all worked out fine. But I don't know. He might have been the right guy for me. I don't know that I was the right gal for him, unfortunately. So that, like I was saying about the whole blindness
female and a good male, and sometimes together they just don't make a good couple.
Yeah, and plus, he was the first guy I'd ever dated. So you guys, this was unusual for you to have a long distance relationship. He was the first guy I dated that actually lived in the same town.
Wow.
So that didn't bode well for me and my abilities to deal with. Like, we had our first argument, and I said, "Well, we're breaking up." He said, "Why are you breaking up?" I said, "Why does he have an argument? I don't date guys I have arguments with. Why would I want to date somebody who I have an argument with?" And he's like, "Well, no, you got to learn how to fight." I'm like, "Why? I just don't see the point. My parents used to fight a lot. I don't like to, let's just not." And he told me I should not interrupt him.
Oh, well, that didn't bode well, did it?
Huge problem for me. Obviously, anybody who's watched my show knows I am an avid interrupter. I have to warn all my co-hosts, as I did you guys at the beginning of the show, did not take offense to the fact that I interrupt. It's just I have a dyslexic brain, I don't know, attention deficit. Things go across faster. And it's like, the stock market, the ticker tape? Mm-hmm. Think of every idea as a quote on the ticker tape.
That's you?
Yeah. Though most people that's going across like here, and you're able to analyze the idea, extrapolate, figure out what you're going to say and what you're not going to put your filters on. Well, mine are like this. It's like, grab it.
The fast forward on the DVR.
Gone. What was that I was going to say? Yes, totally.
Fast forward on the DVR.
Yes. I probably.
Can't you picture that?
Yeah. I should get medication for it. I think I would be good. I understand it helps you
wrong with being peppy.
diminish your diet, your appetite.
As long as it's in the right time.
Yeah.
Pardon?
As long as you're interrupting the right time, that's fine. Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
There are moments for everything. You just gotta know when the appropriate ones are.
That's right. Now, do you guys ever interrupt each other when you're talking? And if so, does that ever bother you?
If she starts to make make comments that don't make sense, I just don't want to hear about it. Yeah, pretty simple.
Can you tell when he's checking out?
No.
You can tell.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, since if you're not paying attention, maybe you don't know.
No, he's reading the newspaper, and I was dating this one guy, and I was like, oh, yeah, the writing's on the wall on this one, because he was starting to act like a husband. No offense, husbands out there. But no, he was like talking, he was reading the paper, doing something else, and he was like, yeah, and I knew he wasn't listening to what I said.
Yeah, that's hard. Especially if you talk a lot, then they might zone it out. Yeah,
it's not that important what I have to say. I should have just been a little bit more understanding of that.
He's not a big zoner.
They should know when things make sense or not just by looking at your body language. If I'm the type of person that if something doesn't get my attention, I will tell you about it instead of making you waste your time.
Okay. So now if she's talking about something that really she really is important to her, you can recognize that, and you will listen to her even though it maybe doesn't interest you, but you will recognize that it's important to her and she's passionate about that.
Yeah,
she needs you to
one thing that, regardless of if you're married or you're in, dating somebody, we tend to think about everybody being perfect. We talk about that perfect marriage. Mm-hmm. There is no such a thing. Everybody goes through hard times. There are times where people don't get along, but you gotta just make it work. But there are times where, like you say, you're talking about those things that you think that are important to her, mm-hmm. even if they don't pertain to me, but I know that are critical to her. I'm gonna listen to it.
And likewise.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you can tell there's something that he really, if you had a bad day at work, and you come home, are you the type of person who wants to, like they have that book, Men Are From Mars and Women From Venus, they say that men go into their caves. Do you go into your kind of seclusion and kind of just want to just be quiet and not deal with anybody? Or do you usually want to come home and vent and just talk about it and with
I think
Robin?
She's
kind of
Robin. Yeah, Robin understands, if I had a bad day or not, and she lets me get home, spend time with the kids, and then she's gonna give me time to, to decompress a little bit on, my day, just because I don't want to jump from being all day in the office and then have to deal with something that might not seem like work, but is work, at home related.
It's like being on. you know, at work you kind of have to be on. You know what I mean by that? You have to be talking to everybody and happy and friendly and perky, even if you don't feel like it, because that's your job, and you want to keep your job. And then you come home, and then if you have somebody that you know that everybody's expecting you to continue that, it's like you have no break.
Right.
So everybody needs to do that. Let's, you guys, if we'd love to hear from a married couple, please. Anybody who's married out there is watching the show. You don't have to call in with your spouse, but we'd love to get your comments on these things and any of these issues that we're discussing. So call in. We've got to have some callers in here. So please do. Anybody who is married, appreciate it. We did have one caller that was too shy to come on the air who wanted to ask about cultural differences between you two, because you both come from different countries. You're from Colombia, you're from the United States. Where did you grow
Texas.
up? Texas.
Different country
I love
too.
That.
That's
I'm
almost
from
a country in
Oklahoma.
itself.
I'm from Oklahoma. We're all kissing cousins right now. Isn't that great? You don't have an accent at all. It's not at all
I
apparent.
don't.
It's not bad at all.
I don't.
No, did you ever have an accent?
No.
Never did?
Come on,
No,
don't.
I have the y'all and the sometimes a little twang when I come back from visiting, but not
I'm
really.
thinking Houston, Dallas.
Houston.
Houston, that's, that's probably. That's,
So.
I think the Dallas ones talk a little bit more like what you
Oh
did
yes,
in Oklahoma.
more southern.
Yeah, it's not.
Definitely.
We're a little bit. We got a little bit of a twang in Oklahoma. In Tulsa, it's kind of like that. It sounds like you got little marbles in the back of your mouth, and you can't really get all the words out. It's just too darn hot to actually have to talk them and actually move your mouth. Especially if you have a dip of Copenhagen between your gum. You got to spit that out. Especially if you're a guy. And I tried
Or
that.
girl.
One. Oh,
You
girl.
never know.
Yeah, I tell you, I tried it once. I nearly puked my guts out, but it was an unpleasant experience. But yeah, and then you've got the southern. The southern ones are
yeah, the bells.
like Virginia. They go on and on. I'm so sorry. You just can't believe people really talk that way now, can you? Isn't it lovely? Yes, we got a Virginian down there in the audience now, don't we, Jackie? So anyway, so back to this. Let's go back to the cultural aspect of this. How was that different with him?
I think Robin understands pretty well that family is very important for me. Just, we're, in my culture, like Christmas time, New Year's Eve time, that's something that you spend with your family basically all the time since you're little. And even if you marry, you try to stay pretty closely to your family. Here in the States, it's one of those things that, you open presents. New Year's Eve is one of those things that you kind of like go on your own, a big party. And there is like, my dad used to give us a hard time about like on New Year's night that you need to be home no later than 10 o'clock. Where you
New
want
Year's night?
Yeah, because then the festivities start in the
just
house.
to make sure,
it's all about
and Christmas there is different. You do Christmas celebration is Christmas at midnight. So you stay up Christmas Eve until midnight, which is interesting with little kids. And then you have at midnight, you have a big dinner, and then everybody opens the gifts at 12:15 at night or whatever it might be. So it's there's a lot of differences, but I mean, I think the biggest one is the family. Not that family isn't important here in the States. I think there's so many opportunities for people to move with jobs in the different cities. And there, I mean, it's not uncommon if you're 30 and have a great job and a girlfriend or a fiance. I mean, you could still live at home, and it's completely not abnormal to be 25, 30, 35 and still living with your parents. I mean, it's...
And he has
here
nothing,
you'd be like, oh my gosh, that guy
and he
lives
has
with
nothing
his
to
parents.
do with... It's
Yes,
not because
do you have like grandparents? Yeah, I think that's really cool if they have like the grandparents and the grandkids can be in the same household and learn, because they can glean so much from the grandparents.
My grandma used to live with us. Yeah, she lived with us for pretty good, almost 5 years until she passed away. Yeah, but it's not. I mean, it's just you try to stay together, and that's one thing that here in the States, just like Robin was saying, it's, you get out of high school and the first thing you think about is like, okay, where I'm gonna go to school. Sometimes you start to stay close, or that's the first time you kind of like have the opportunity to leave your house. But there, you can even go to school in the same city, live with your parents. I mean, my older brother used to live with us. It's not like he didn't have money to buy his own place, but you try to stay with your family as much as possible.
So, like dinners, is everybody always coming? Because a lot of times in the United States, well, grab something to eat. There's food in the refrigerator. I'll see you later. And it a lot of times very seldom do American families anymore. It's really sad, but sit down to dinner together.
Yeah, there is. You try to at least do 2 meals with with the family, unless you're working and you kind of like a day, yeah.
Wow.
A day.
So like
Not a
breakfast
week.
before you go to work, and
Well,
then
it depends
dinner,
on
or
your,
is
yeah.
it
Normally-
early afternoon?
Lunch is work is close to your parents' home, and dinner.
Like his brother would come home for lunch, like
Uh-huh.
when he had a corporate job. I mean, he could have been working at, I forget where,
That's
like some big
cool.
corporate company.
Uh-huh.
He'd come home for lunch and have lunch with his dad. Would come home and then they'd go back to work and then they'd all come home and
They
have
could
dinner.
actually
So
get
it's-
home in a timely get back to the house
Yeah.
in a timely fashion, because the streets aren't so, there's not 3
I mean-
lanes when there should be 5.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the same
like there is an
amount of
Oregon.
traffic, but you just make
but you make
the
the
effort to
to do it.
That's
do it. Yeah.
brilliant. I like that. I wish we had more of the traditions like that. That's
Yeah.
great. Do you get to come home for lunch very often with Robin?
I don't, so
anymore.
just
Too far away?
too far, yeah.
It's too far.
But to me, it's just there's nothing worse than really eating a meal by yourself. You think about, when you can be surrounded by people. To me, here the American culture is like you kind of like on the go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
For us, when it's time to eat, it's like an enjoyable time, regardless of how stressed you are, or how busy you are. You gotta have time to really take care of yourself.
Yeah, lunch takes a
So
long time
brilliant.
there.
I love that. I
And
wish
lunch
we were more
is
like that.
3 or 4 or 5 course meals. I mean, it can be a long, big thing, just eating.
Oh, really?
Lunch is their big meal. I mean, dinner can be smaller, still family, but lunch is a
The
big
main one,
spread, is the main meal of the day.
That is,
So.
yeah. And then did they have siestas?
Yeah, it's funny. So some corporations, they have like a special room where you can just go take like a power nap.
Do they really?
Yeah. Well, I haven't. I'd never worked there since I basically moved here when I was pretty young. But my brother just like will tell me, it's like, yeah, I go to this room and we just take a nap there in the couch for a couple minutes.
Imagine that in corporate America.
Oh, I know.
Go to the nap room for a little bit. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
That's right. That's right.
That conference call calls in. I'll just be snoozing.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. It is a really odd phenomenon. I don't think you guys, when did you, because you guys were still in college in 80s, right? 89, right? When you first met, right?
Yes.
So, I feel you. There was this weird thing that happened about I think it was like 1988 or 87, somewhere like that. I got into the workforce in 1983 or 84, and in the advertising business in San Francisco, and everybody drank hard alcohol at lunch. Everybody did. And I would come home, and I mean, I hardly drank that much. I didn't have very high tolerance. And I would put my head down on the desk and take a nap, take my little siesta, because I drank too much at lunch. And then I moved to Los Angeles after I got married in '86. And the entire time I was in Los Angeles, I think there was some sort of law changed about liability and drinking on the job or something.
Drinking on the job.
But nobody drinks on the job. Do you drink at any of your business meetings?
No.
Nobody. You
Yeah.
never order. It's total faux pas to order
Right.
alcohol at lunch, which I think is probably a good thing. The origin of marriage. Caller wants to know about the origin of marriage. I don't know. Is this the same caller who doesn't want to go on the air? I don't know. The origin of marriage. Marriage,
that's a hard
is
one.
it? I don't know. We're not. One of the most important things we always have to say on this show, which I'm remiss in not saying earlier, is we are doctors of absolutely nothing, right?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. So we are just as an opinion-based show where we just discuss all these issues, get it out on the table, and it's a forum for you to discuss it, and we learn more from it as we discuss these things. That's all it's about. And we'd love to have a caller, so if you could call in, we only have 5 more minutes left of the show, so you only have a little bit more time. So give us a call, what's between us here, and weigh in on this if you're a married couple, because we would really like to talk to another married couple. I can't believe there's nobody out there that wants to call. Make sure you keep the lines free out there, too, because we do only have 2 lines. You can't have anybody on hold. If you have somebody on hold, you don't get any other phone calls. It's an unfortunate thing, but that's the way it is here at TVC TV, and we really appreciate this is community access television. Anybody who wants to can come in and produce a show that they find interesting, and this is the one I find interesting, so this is what I'm doing here now tonight. So So that's the cultural things. Did she do anything, her culture, or are you pretty much used to this culture when you got here because of the fact that
you start to learn, experience and here and there. You get to see,
Easter. He had no
how
idea
they
what
are,
Easter was.
the whole concept of Easter or
painting eggs.
Thanksgiving.
He'd never done that before. Or the Easter bunny, because that's commercial really a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the States, and that doesn't. Painting the eggs and the Easter bunny doesn't have anything to do with the religious aspect of it. So he
it
had
is
no
kind of
idea.
bizarre. Did they do anything for Easter for the kids when you were in Colombia?
For us, it's just the entire country shuts down, and it's kind of like our spring break. It's called there like the Holy Week. So all the schools get out of school at the same time. It's not like here, depending on the state you're from, you're going to different times. There is just Holy Week for the entire week, or not. It's normally you get like Thursday. The people that work get Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off, but the kids get the entire week off. So it's a good time to actually spend it with your family.
Oh wow! Well, yeah. Now, I wanted to ask you about. Okay, so that's pretty much the same. Do you guys have? I'm curious. In Colombia, is it more common to have co-ed or unisex schools?
I grew up going to a Franciscan school where it was all boys. My sister went to all nun school, so all girls school, Sacred Heart, and my older brother went to a co-ed school. He went to the German school. So
the
it
Germans
depends,
are okay with the co-ed thing, but the Catholics they want to keep you all separated.
I guess, yeah.
But now it's changing, right? Your school now
my
is
school
co-ed.
now
I
is
think
co-ed.
it
Yeah.
Oh,
might
really?
be a little more generational thing as well, because now they tend to have
They've
more.
actually learned it. I think they're even trying this out in some public school districts around the country of separating the genders because without the influence of the other gender to distract them, they tend to work. They tend to actually score higher. I don't know if that's true or not. But you've been watching What's Between Us. This is the show that we have on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, hosted by moi, Lisa Michaels. And we discuss issues that have to do with men and women from a G-rated perspective. And we usually have callers that call in. I don't know. This is very unusual that we haven't had any callers call in. But hopefully the next time, maybe you just are so fascinated by our conversation that you just didn't want to call in. You just felt like we were doing fine on our own. And I think we were, because we've got three, there's three of us instead of just two of us.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't get to show, I think maybe, do we have, how much time do we have left? Do we have like 1 minute? Okay, well then we won't. We'll just end it up. I was going to show another video, but we'll do that another time. But thank you so much. So what do you think? Would you recommend other couples to do this show? It was not that painful, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't
Definitely.
that painful. No, it was fun.
Okay, good.
We chat a bit, and I don't know, it was good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of fun having you on, and I really appreciate it. And
Us too.
we're going to delve more into married couples issues, not just single people's issue, on What's Between Us in future episodes. So thank you very much for joining us for my show, and check us out on the website at www.whatsbetweenus.org. And thank you to Dennis Gleason and all the crew. Can we go to the camera in the studio before we have to head out, or not? Can we do that? Oh, there they are. All right, waving to you and from the studio. And we've got Jake and Josh Rawson and my kids and Joe and the Stovals, and we just appreciate everybody in TVC TV for this show, What's Between Us. Call me, email me, not call me, but email me on the website, whatsbetweenus.org.